Hi, this is Dean Brown, designer, Spruance leader, and I'm going to do a walkthrough of the carrier expansion. So a couple things to keep in mind. So the carrier expansion does rely a lot on the rules from the main core game, but there are some differences. So for example, we can do carrier strikes against land targets. So land targets in the core game can be destroyed with the TLAM missiles, Tomahawk land attack. But you could also send carrier strikes against them, so that's one of the new missions. You could do carrier strikes against random encounters, so before you would just roll and look for activity level. Here you would assume that the activity level is high, and then you could put together a strike and attack it, and if you take out the first number, in this case 4 to 6, the activity level would be low, and if you rolled applied 7 damage or more, then the encounter would be, the task force would be destroyed, and there wouldn't be an encounter then. And you could also earn victory points for that. The third new thing is to you can do air defense now. In the core game, when you had attack zones, if you did get attacked by air, then your task force was attacked. In this case, you could set up a CAP, Combat Air Patrol, and you can have fighters, you can have your EA to do jamming, and your AEW aircraft, your radar aircraft, to detect them coming in. So you can fight off the enemy bombers before they actually reach the task force. And then the fourth new thing is that you can actually do airstrikes on the tactical display. So you would just set up the tactical display like in the core game, and then you can set up strikes at the beginning of the turn, go through all the actions, and then you perform your strikes at the end. So we'll be showing examples of all of those. So the campaign that I'll be using is Plowing the Road, Mediterranean Cold War. This is an easy campaign, so it's obviously in the Med. Here's the types of targets that we'll be going after. You can see here that there is a chance of having backfire attacks when we enter these two zones here. For this one, I'm going to just do the short campaign and get my 200 SO points. And you can see the skill level. Sorry, skill levels: 1 newbie, 2 green, 2 average, 1 skilled, and then the rest, anything else after that is green. So just like a normal core game campaign map, also have our task force tracks and our activity tracks. So I did set up my target deck based on the target numbers there. So all these targets correspond to the numbers that are on the map. So the purchasing equipment is very similar in the carrier expansion as the core game. So you can see here I have a bunch of task force ships that I've selected to be as part of the to support the campaign. But what is new is you can add carriers to your task force. So I have 2 here, the Eisenhower and the Kennedy. So I selected those, and there's a SO cost associated with each of them. And then for each carrier, you select an air wing that you want associated with that carrier. And there's several air wing cards. So I selected 2 here, so 5 and 6. So the air wing cards, there's the year that applies. So we're in a 1985, I believe, campaign. So this is showing what squadrons I could have on that particular carrier. So these are the squadron names, the types of aircraft, what their main role is, and then the cost. So the first number is the cost for the entire squadron, which you pay when you pick it up, and then the second number is the cost to repair or increase the strength after your squadrons have lost strength. So if my Corsair squadron was not at full strength at 4 points, but it's only at 2, Then to get it back up to 4, I would have to spend 2 SO points to do that. Also, you can see the different squadrons have different focus areas. So this one's focused on ship and task force attack, and this one is on air and ground for my prowler. There are also some new commanders, so carrier commanders. So for this one I selected Bailey and McLean. And then for the skill levels, I did make my Eisenhower skilled, and I made Kennedy average, but I paid 4 SO points to increase the skill level on my Kennedy. And then McLean is average, and Bailey is green. And then for my ships, they're all green except for the word. I needed one newbie, so he's a newbie, and I did purchase one helicopter for my Spruance destroyer. I can also purchase helicopters, the SH-3, so that you can have a squadron of helicopters on the carrier. I didn't do that for this so far for this campaign. I do have fighters, Phantoms, Corsair, Intruder, which is going to be the main bomber, and then Hawkeye for detection. And then for this squadron, I got Tomcats, Corsairs, Intruder, and Hawkeye. So I did fill out my player log, so you can see here that I listed commanders, their current skill level, and then my carrier, 2 carriers, and the rest of my ships. Okay, so we're going to start the mission setup phase. So first step, priority R&R. Nobody has any stress, so I'm going to skip that. Target selection. So let me draw a target card here. So enemy ASW forces number 13. So 13 is here. So I'm going to put this in my mission location. So you can see here that we are in the eastern med zone, so we have to traverse from here to here, and we are potentially going to be under backfire attack when we enter that zone. So I do have 26 SO points that I can use for this mission. Okay, so now we're in the step where you can purchase task force equipment. That includes any additional squadrons. I do want to buy a squadron for the Kennedy, but I think for now I'm just going to take the Eisenhower out, so I'm not going to purchase any additional equipment or squadrons here. Okay, selected ships I want to take on the task force. I am taking my my Ticonderoga to provide missile defense, Vogue, the Truett, and the DeWert, which is my newbie Oliver Hazard Perry, and then my Eisenhower is back in the protected force area. And then I did set up my draw cup, including position 6, which there's one task force 6 chit in here. Alright, so now purchase ordnance. So I did purchase ordnance. I only spent 15 SO points on ordnance, even though I have 26 available. I'm going to save some SO points to replace any squadrons I might lose. Plus, I do have the carrier, so it's likely a lot of some of the random encounters I can do a strike on and not have to use ordnance from my task force ship. Okay, the other thing I did fill out was I do have carrier air wing logs. They're posted on Facebook and BGG. This just helps you keep track of, for each carrier, what squadrons you have, the plane type, and what their current strength is, and then if you want to take any notes during the campaign here. So this is just to have a log of what is on each carrier. And then I think I forgot to mention, but I am taking McLean, my average commander, who has a strike focus on. And then I did select Eisenhower as my flagship for where McLean's going to be at. So I did fill out my log sheet, so target 13, and then identified all of the commander and the ships that I was taking on here. And then I have 26 SO points, used 15, so I have 11 left. Okay, last step. I have to place my enemy task force counters on the map. My task force track says 4, so I'm placing 4 of them. So I roll. So I have a 2, I have a 4, and I have 2 10s. Nice. So I'm going to have 2 random encounters that I have to worry about on the way to the target area. Okay, so we're going to start the mission. So now we're in the mission execution phase. So 5.1, we're going to move my task force, and we do enter an area where we do have a random encounter. So let me look at my encounter card here. So you can see that this is a surface encounter, which is good. I don't have any sub hunters on my carrier task force, so I wouldn't be able to do a strike on them. But I can do a strike on a surface. So as air defense of -1, not too bad, and I need to have 5 hits against the encounter to take it from high to none. So if I'm going to do a strike, we're assuming that the activity level is high. So I do have the option of just rolling the die. There's a +2 activity modifier, die roll modifier, because of the activity track. But if I do that, then I have to have it set up the tactical encounter. So for this one, we're not going to do that. So I am going to send out a strike force to try to take out this activity, or this encounter. Okay, so we normally start off with air escorts against enemy cap, but we don't have any enemy cap or air escorts here. So we're going to come down and do the ground attack on the task force. We'll start off with E2C Hawkeye. It's going to be in the strike attack support mode. So I'm going to roll a die, so that would aid in my attack, so I can have an attack +1 or +2. I roll a 7. I'm using the detection numbers here for surface detection, the dark blue. So 7 is a detect 2, which means so I'm going to use the attack 2 modifier. Alright, so now we're going to roll for the attack. This might be overkill, but I do have air defense of -1, so after each roll I subtract 1, and if any of these rolls are a 1, then I lose a step on my squadron. So let's see, roll a 2, 8, and 4. So I subtract 1, check, nothing happens there, and then I add 2 for my AEW. So I have 5, 3, and 9. 5, 3, 9. So that's 2 hits. So my track here, move this over 2. So that was the first Corsair. Now we'll roll on the intruder. 4, 5, 8. Again, subtract 1. So if I roll a 1 on any of these, take a damage. 4, 8, 8. So subtracting 1's not 0, so nothing there. So add 1 to all, 9, 9, and 5. So that is 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. So I do have enough hit points, but I still need to roll for my Corsair to see if it takes any damage. I roll on the 8, 2, 5, so no ones, so no damage there. So this encounter is over, and the enemy task force ships are destroyed. Okay, so I'll return these here. So I did earn the victory points, 3, and it's not in the book, somehow that rule got missed, but my carrier does get an experience point for launching that strike. So I'm going to take that note down, and you can see I have 2 stress from also launching that strike. So 3 victory points and 1 XP. So it's 1 XP for the Eisenhower and 1 XP for McLean. Okay, so I took care of that encounter for A, then I move into this, and now I have encounter B. So I draw my encounter card, and you can see this is a submarine. And I don't have any squadrons to go after subs, so I'm going to have to roll for activity level. So I have a +2 modifier. I rolled a 10. So high activity. Let's flip this over. So you can see here this is a sub patrol, so I have 4 unknown subs, and I get 1 SO point for each sub. Okay, so I draw my 4 unknown subs. I do have a couple with 3 of them with stars, so I can't bypass this one. Since this is going to be more of the traditional encounter, except with the exception of I have my carrier that could potentially be attacked. I'll stop, and I guess we'll jump to the end. Okay, I finished the sub encounter, so with unscathed. So 1 stress for each of these ships, 2 for my 2 screening force. Because the Eisenhower's in protected, gets a -1 stress. He got 2 for launching a strike. I forgot about the cool 1, so he had 1 stress, and now he's down to 0. And McLean still, he had 2 stress from the strike. He just lost 1 because the flagship is in the protected area, so he's down to 1 stress. Okay, so we see that I entered the eastern med zone, so now I am at risk of a backfire attack. So I am going to put up a cap and launch my F4J Phantom fighter, as that would be my cap aircraft. I would add 1 stress into my carrier for the launch, and now because he is on cap, I can't use my fighter for any other missions while I'm in this campaign area. So now I'm going to roll for a backfire attack, and let's say I rolled a 10. So now I have 2 backfire bomber squadrons that are going to be heading towards my task force. So let's show how that would work. Okay, I have 2 backfire bombers, 1 fighter. You can see that my fighter is fast. I have 3 dice rolls. So I have 3 dice, and I need to allocate rolls to which backfire. So I'm just going to do 2, 1. So they do have missile defense of 0. So there's no modifiers for my attack. So we are going to go ahead and roll. So 2 dice here. I need a 5, 8 to hit, and roll a 4, 7. So that is 1 hit here. And I roll 1 die for this one, 5, 8 again, and I rolled a 10. So that is 2 hits. So that takes this down and out. So I destroyed the 1 backfire. I have 1 left at strength 1. So now he's going to attack. he has an 8. I have a missile defense of 2. So he has to roll a 10 in order to hit me. And I rolled a 9. So go on to the next round. So now I can allocate all 3 of my dice, so I don't think it's probably going to make it. So 8, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, so I do get my hits here for the backfire, so the incoming backfire attack is destroyed by my cap. Alright, so we're now in the target area, so I'm going to set up our enemy ASW force on the tactical display. Okay, reach the target. Enemy ASW forces. I have a Kirov 2 Yorlois and a Victor 1 sub, so I set up those positions on the tactical display here. So this is the Kirov. This is the most dangerous ship, and it requires 3 hull damages. Contacts of 2, which means it can attempt to detect and attack 2 of my task force ships. And it does have a missile defense of 2, which if I do a strike on it, that's the air defense value. So I'm going to go ahead and play through this tactical encounter for the target. So I did create a carrier sequence of play overlay for the tactical display. So just to put over the sequence of play that's on a tactical display. So and this does highlight in blue some of the changes from the normal one. So you can see here, determine carrier squadron actions. So first step is to decide how I want to use my carriers. So, and then you can see that step 7 and 8 are actually perform those actions, and then remove the task force carrier chits that you put in whenever you determine what actions you're going to perform. So we're going to go through the sequence of play as we do this tactical encounter. I do have this on the did just put this on the Facebook site, Spruance Facebook site, and the BGG site. See on the other side I have the SSN sequence of play, so there's some changes there that I always forgot to launch the helicopters, so I put that on here on the sequence of play so that I can use this while I'm using the SSN expansion. Alright. Okay, last step, let's draw an event card. Improve sonar detection. All sub-detection attempts have a +2 die modifier. Well, that's good. Okay, let's take a look at our sequence real quick again. So the first step, determine the carrier squadron actions and place the chits. Alright. So can't do any strikes, can't plan any strikes because I don't have any detected ships. But I can plan to do an AEW. So launch my E3A. So I'm going to plan to do that. And what that means is, here we go. It says place chits. So because I'm doing a carrier action, I place 3 task force carrier chits into my drop pod. So now I have position 6, which is my carrier, and then I have those 3. So if any of those get drawn, then they can be targeted. Okay, my Tycho, I do have a 109, and I do have 3 ships here, so I'm going to fire that. And let's see what happens. So I'm firing in search mode. Again, have to 7 or higher for it to lock on to a ship. And I can be in 2 azimuths here, so roll 1, nope. So then let's go to ship 2, 4, nope. Roll. Ship 3 is a 7. So I do get to perform an attack on that. So that is -2 here. Tycho has a -1. And ship 3 has missile defense of 1. Wow, so that's -4, so I need a 10. 10 to hit. 7, so that was a miss. I guess I should have checked that out first. Okay, my Vogue. I can detect out this range 6. Let's try to detect our Kirov. So that is am in the screening force, so +1. I have a 0 skill modifier, no range modifier, so it's a straight up 7, 8, not the best detection, so 3, so that's a miss. Okay, those are my fast ship actions. Now let's move our enemy units. So the Kirov has a movement of +1, so that's a 5. Patrol. Sub. Victor has a movement of +2, so that's a 10. So he's going to do range -2 and ping, which that would be good. Now I have because I have the +2 from my event. Ship 2 is a movement of +2, so that's a 10. It's range -1 and ping. And then ship 3, it's a movement of +2, so that's 8, range -1. Okay, now we draw chits, and this is where a little stressful. So my sub, Victor sub, is pinging, has a detection range of 2, I'm at range 3, so I'm not going to draw anything for him. The Kirov has 2 contacts, so I draw ship 2 and 3. He has a ship detection of 4-6. So ship 2 has a 0 noise modifier, so it's a straight up 4-6. So it is detected at level 1. Ship 3 is a Truett. It's a noise modifier of 1, so -1, 7, so that's a 6. Yeah, that's detected at level 2. And it is in missile range. So 4-9. My Tycho has a missile defense of 2. So I do get a -2 on that attack. Because it's a level 2, it gets to fire 1 missile. So 7, 6, 5. Which is a hit. Okay. So damage cup is on Truett. Nice. So missile. So just draw the destroyed counter. That means that My Truett is gone. That was unfortunate. Let's see, ship 2 has a detection range of, oops, yeah, I gotta roll first. Detection range of 6. So, and it has 2 contacts. So I draw ship 2 and carrier. So it has a 4-7 detection. Ship 2 has a 0 noise modifier, so 5, so that's detected. And level 1. Alright, my carrier has a noise modifier of 1. It is in the protected force, so that's a -2. And, oh yeah, it is at range 5, so that's -3. 8765. Alright, so that's detected at level 1. Well, that is not good. Alright, ship 3, the Severmarks. I butchered that. Oh yeah, it has contacts of 2 also. And not a good sign for my carriers. Yeah, so it draws 2, basically ship 6, and my carrier, they're the same ship. So I can just focus on the 1, put it back. It detects force 7, it's at range 5, -1, so that's a -2. So 4, that's a 2, so that did not detect it. Alright, so that is the end of the enemy actions. Now I have my slow actions. So I do have to, so I did lose a ship. And unless I want to add stress to all of my ships, then I have to pick one to rescue the crew. So I am going to pick the Dort. So that is going to go here. Alright. So now let's adjust our cup. So I have ships in 1, position 2. I got my 2 there. 3, 4, 5. Still have 6. And 2 carriers. 3 and 4 come out, and I put a 7 in. Okay, now I did have a fast commander action. I could use that to attempt to detect Kirov. So that's a 5. -1 is 4. So it is detected at level 1. Alright, so now we're at the perform carrier actions. So I have my AEW that I launched here. Alright, so for ground detections I used the dark blue, so detection 5-7. Because this is a tactical display I can attempt to detect ships on all three. Another thing to keep in mind here is I do have a 1. So if I roll a 1, I take a damage. So let's attempt a cure off first. It has a noise modifier of 1. So I rolled a 10. So now he is detected at level 2. Let's try the Utiloi. Ship 2. This is Admiral Karl Amov. 6. Has a noise management of 5. So he is detected at level 1. And then ship 3. 7, 4. That's a miss. Okay. So that was my AEW step. I do add 1 stress to my carrier. The cool doesn't come off until the end of the encounter. So, alright. So that was the last of my carrier actions. Now I decrease detection levels. So this goes down to 1. This goes down to 0. This goes down to 1. Zero, 0, 0. Okay, and then reduce my battle turn. Alright. So let's start up it again. Now we want to determine what squadron actions we want to perform. The Kirov is detected. So I am going to perform a strike on that. And I could do, let's see, yeah, let's just do the 1 strike. The Kirov is the, no, what do I have? Intruder, 2 Corsairs. Alright, let's do a strike on this Utiloi, the Karl Amov. So we would put the, so we already have the carrier counters in, or what's left of them. Alright, Son of Boys, no, don't do that. So now it's the fast task force actions. Okay. So I do have, this ship does have my task force, my carrier detected. So and it's, let's see, it's at range 5. And I have a sub out here, which is still kind of dangerous. And I have the ping counter for that. And I have the +2 modifier. So let's do a detect on the sub. So it's 5-8. 0 skill modifier. And +3 here and +2 for the event, so +5. Okay, so that is detected at level 2. Okay, the sub is at range 3. So I am going to have Vogue here fire 2 ASRoCs. So 0 skill modifier. I have a +2 here. Oops, I'm sorry, -1 sub modifier. +2 here, so +1. And it has a torpedo defense of 1. So no modifiers. Let's take this off. So I have to roll 7 or higher. 10 and a 4, so I do get 1 hit. So at least it's damaged. So that has an attack -2, so that should help if it does detect somebody. Alright, still have a fast action. I could use it for my ground strike +1 here, and I think I will save it for the strike against the Kirov. I do need 3 hits to sink that. Alright. So now we'll move enemy units. So the Kirov +1 modifier movement, so 3. So it's patrol. Or 1 Uniloi is movement +2, so that's 9. Range -1. Yeah, so let's move all of these. Ship 3, 8 +2 movement modifier, so that's 10. So it's range -1 and pinging. This is really for ship 2. Getting crowded. Remove that. Alright, sub 2. +2 is 4, so he's patrolling. Alright. Form enemy actions, so let's start with a sub. Not a lot of counters left in there. Hopefully it has a contact of 1. So that's my carrier. Since at range 3, Eisenhower is has noise modifier, noise management of 1, so that's a -1, so that's a 5, 4. So it does detect it. My carriers are getting detected all over the place. Level 1. Alright. Now comes the Kirov. This is the dangerous one. It attacks with 2 missiles. So 2 rolls. So it's going to get some good shots off. So start and do ship 2. The Vogue. It's detected at level 0. I have my missile shield of 2, so it's going to be a -2. Alright, -2. So 4, 5. So those attacks are misses. Needed a 4, 9. I had -2 modifiers, so nope. So that one knocked out. Ship 3 is not there anymore, so I guess I can just take that off and move back here. Let me think. Alright, so it did have it detected at level 1. So for now, since it was already detected, we'll assume it's going to fire the divert. So we're going to use the the missile screen here to 8. So that is a total of minus, what is that? +1, -2, -1, so that's a 7. That's one hit. Hopefully I don't get a strong cup. Hopefully I won't pick out a destroyed for this. Alright, and I get stress 4. Wow. And a whole hit. So he's up to stress 5. Put a hull damage on him. He really has no actions anyway. He's doing the rescue, crew rescue, so he's out for the rest of the encounter. Alright, now our Eutaloy, ship 2, 5-9, 1-6 for 1 missile. So let's look at ship 2. 1-6 is 1 missile, so that's 1 missile. So I have my -2 modifier, 6-5. And that is a hit. Another hit. So let's just put this thing right next to me. Alright, ship attack -2. So put that on the Vogue. Alright, now here comes my carrier. So +2. I have a 2 from my missile shield, so -2. Rolled a 3. Okay, whew, that's good. Whoops, how many missiles? Okay, yeah, 1 missile. Okay. Ship 3 has 2 contacts. So 2 and 7. Alright, so 0 noise modifier, he's at range 4. So 4-7 detection, 8. Alright, so that was ship 2. Detect 2, because it's at detection 2, he gets to fire a missile. And it's only 1. It's on a 5-9. So that's a 7. Modified down. It's +2, -2. So that's a 7. So that's a hit. That's ship 2. Subdetect -2. Alright, well that's good. Not too bad. Now he's going to try to detect the divert. He's a NM +1 here. So 5, 4. That is a detect at level 1. Wow. So I got a lot of problems here. Okay, so I don't have any slow ships, so that's all the all the ship actions, enemy actions. Perform slow, task force and commander actions. So I did save my commander action. So now we perform the carrier actions. So I'm doing strike. Let me see. Let's do an intruder strike here. And a Corsair strike here. I add 2 stress, 1 for each strike, because it's just one aircraft, it's only 1 stress. So now that is up to 3. Alright, well, let's see how this goes. So detect 1. I am going to use my commander action on the Kirov, so I get a +1 there. So that's +2. The ship does have a missile defense of 2. So I subtract that before I add my +2 modifiers to see if I take any hits here. So I'm going to roll 3 dice. +2, -2. So I rolled a 3, 5, and a 7. So the 5 is 2 hits and the 7 is 2 hits. So that is 4 hits on the Kirov. And that sinks it. Which is great. Because he had a bunch of ships targeted here. So put these back in. He's done. Flies back. Alright, now we're going to do my second strike. 0 modifier here. He has a missile defense of 1. So I roll 3 dice here. And if I roll a 1, then I lose step. I did roll a 1. So 4, 5, 1. That are all misses. Wow. Plus my Corsair takes a hit. That is not good. Alright. Okay. So I can remove my carrier strike for the ones that aren't on here. Depends if I want to do a strike next turn, which I think I do. Okay, so decrease detection levels. So he is now down to 0. 0, so it's gone. He is gone. So let's go back in the cup. This is level 1. That's level 1. Or level 0. This is down to 0. And this one's down to 1. Alright. Battle turn down to 3. Okay. So I do get XPs. Sorry, I forgot to mention my carrier when it does if it does a launch in any turn, it gets an XP. So right now we did 2 strikes last turn, but you only get 1 XP. No matter how many strikes you have. Okay. Determine carrier squadron actions. Oh. We're going to do strikes here and here. Alright, so the Tycho ship, so I do have this sub out here. It is detected. So I am going to fire, let's use my Tycho to fire 2 Azrocs. It is at range 3. So it has a torpedo defense of -1 for the damage. Has a torpedo defense of 1 on the card, so that's a 0. Tycho has a 0, so the second one is a volley fire, so I get a +1 on the black one. So I need a roll 7s. +1 on this one. So I did hit. And since it already has 1 damage, now it's 2, which means that that one is sunk. Good. So take those off. This one goes back in the cup. Alright, I got one action here. I do have a sub detect -2 and a ship attack -2. They're both repairable. I don't have any subs anymore. Is it worth attacking? I'm thinking no. So this is at level 0. Let's see if we can increase the detection for that. So 6-9, skill level 0. Noise modifier management of 1, so -1. 9, 2. Okay, no. Alright, I'm going to save my fast action for the strikes again. Alright, so movement. Both have a +2, so let's roll for ship 2, 9, 10, 11. So that's a range -1 and ping. Let's take that off and put that here. Which that is good, because again it's outside of detection range. Ship 3 is a 3, 4, 5. It's patrolling. Okay. Alright, I haven't been doing CNC checks. So, command and control 7+, and ship 2 has a modifier of -1. Alright, so let's see if it fires on this ship. Ship 2, not in command and control. Ship 7, 5, nope, not in command and control. Okay. I need to add that to the... it is on the list. Alright, so drawing 2 contacts. Nope, I'm not drawing any contacts as it's pinging. So I wouldn't be able to detect them. Alright, ship 3, it's going to fire. So this is that worked, and this is the so ship 3. Let's see how many missiles. 8. So it's going to fire 2 missiles. +1 modifier, -2 for missile defense. So -1. It's a 5-9, 2-4. Okay. That's going to fire here. So -2 for the Tycho, 0 detection. So -2. Okay, so that's a miss. Ooh, nice. Okay, so no damage that turn. Oh, but I don't have ship 3 detected. How did that happen? So I guess I'm not doing a strike on him. Alright. So we're going to bring in our intruder add another stress, so we're up to 4 on the carrier. This has a missile defense of 1. 0 modifiers for that. I'm gonna use my ground strike attack +1. So it's a +1 and -1 for the missile defense. Again, if I roll a 1, my intruder takes a hit. I did not. So 6, 7, 5. Seems like that's a lot of hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Okay, yeah. Alright, so he goes back full strength. Ship 2 is destroyed. So we get another XP for my carrier, so we're up to 3. Decrease detection levels. So this one is, so now he only has ship 2 detected. He goes back in the cup. Decrease battle turn counter. Alright, seems like I should be able to take him out. This noise modifier. 0. With just my ships. He isn't detected, so I can't do a strike. So let's try to use the Tycho. So we'll no carrier actions this turn. 4, 6, 9. Detect +1. 0 noise modifier, so +1. 8. 4, 6, 9. So that's detect 3. Nice. Okay, I am going to use my commander action, and I'm going to let my Tycho fire 2 missiles. The black one gets the +1 volley. It's got a missile defense of 1, detection of +3, so I add 2 to my rolls. Alright, 8 and 9. Oh yeah, they're both hit. Okay, so that's the end of that. Ship 3 is destroyed. He gets Tycho gets a victory point or experience point. All right. So that's that. Draw an event card. Next random and tactical encounter. So there isn't any more random tactical encounters. So now let's evaluate the situation and see where we ended up. Okay, so I did destroy the target. So I get 6 victory points for that. And it does have a task force 1 and activity level 1. So I get to slide these over. And then from a stress perspective, my carrier, I lost 1. I'm in the protected zone. So I had 4. He's got a cool of 1, so I'm down to 2. McLean was in the protected area. He's down to 0. The Tycho and the Vogues just both have 4 stress, and the DeWert has 7, so he's way out of, very unfit. And I did lose the Truett, so that one got destroyed. So that is the tactical encounter for the target.